I go back to 1919. Woodrow Wilson has to get to 1921. He's blind in his left eye, and he's had some major strokes after a history of strokes going back into the late 19th century. Woodrow Wilson was fragile. We've set up an architecture of identification of ill people at the senior level. Should we be up in an uproar that the Secretary of Defense was ill over the last number of days?
We should be, and the White House should be. The fact that the Secretary of Defense was ill and hospitalized, and the President didn't know about it for 4 days, I beg your pardon. We're in a situation where there are two raging wars with strong U.S. interest, let's put it that way. ISIS is active again. There are crises after crises after crises, and the President of the United States didn't know that his Secretary of Defense was out of pocket. That there are protocols designed to prevent something like that from happening. Those protocols all broke down. Something more serious than a mealy-mouthed apology from the Defense Secretary.
The bipartisan uproar is going to be tangible, but I would suggest it will focus on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. What should be the response of the White House?
Well, the White House should demand something more substantive by way of an apology from the Secretary of Defense, and the President has to figure whether he's satisfied with the answer that he gets from the Secretary about why he was incommunicado for so long, or at least he was that the White House was not told. This seems like a very basic, simple mistake to make, and had this happened in any major corporation, heads would have rolled.
You know what I'm really curious about right now? There was a terrorist attack in Iran last week. What was the chain of communication between the White House and the Pentagon at that time? And shouldn't they have found out where the Defense Secretary was at that point?
They should have.
What happened? Did no one talk to each other when that happened?
Well, it would seem that the deputy was sort of responding to queries. We're being told that the secretary's assistant was themselves sort of in bed with the flu, and this is where all the communications broke down. That does not strike me as a satisfactory answer, that if one person has the flu, the president is kept in the dark. That can't be right, not in this day and age.